Hey, you guys. It is so good to be back with you. This week, we are talking about community helpers. Those are people in the community that help us out. Can you think of some? That's right. I heard somebody say fireman, police officer, the grocery store clerk. Oh my goodness, we can think of so many people that help us in our community. Can we think of two more before we start our book? The doctor, the construction workers. That's right. All of those people help our community. Today we're going to read Curious George at the Fire Station. We love Curious George books. George and the man with the yellow hat were visiting the fire station. "Hello, George," said the fire chief. "How would you like to wear a fireman's hat?" "We have a fireman's hat in our classroom." Curious George put on the big hat. See, he's putting on that hat. What happens when you put on the hat in our classroom? That's right, you don't turn into a fireman, but you pretend really a lot, don't you? Then they looked at the fire engines. "We're proud of them," said the chief. "We keep them as bright and shiny as can be." How do you think they keep the fire engines bright and shiny? There's a clue in the picture. Right there. That gives us a good clue. One fireman was polishing a big brass bell on the wall. "This is our alarm bell," said the chief. "Whenever there is a fire, it rings." Another bell was on the engine. "We ring that bell on our way to the fire," said the chief, "so that people will get out of the way." Have you ever been in the road, riding in the car with your parents, when a fire truck has come by? What did you do? And this is Sally, our Dalmatian. She just had 10 puppies. See the dog? That's a Dalmatian, a white dog with spots. Those are fire dogs. The puppies stay in a basket on the second floor with the firemen. They all went up to the second floor. The puppies were in a straw basket by the wall. "Yip, yip, yip," they barked. One tried to jump up and lick George's face. Have you ever had a dog try to lick your face? Near the basket was a big round hole with a pole in the middle. "When the alarm rings," said the chief, "the firemen slide down the pole to the fire engines below. Do you ever slide down poles? Do you feel like a firefighter when you do that? "You may slide down if you want, George," said the chief. "But be careful," said the man with the yellow hat. George slid down the pole like a real fireman. Then he climbed onto the fire engine and sat behind the wheel. What do you think George was feeling when he did that? I bet you're right. I bet he was feeling brave, and I bet he was feeling strong. "Make way! Here comes George the fireman." George was curious. What would happen if he rang the bell? What do you think would happen if he rang the bell? What do you think George is going to do? Because George is very curious. Clang, clang, clang went the bell. The fireman heard it and jumped out of bed. Did you predict that he was going to ring the bell because he was curious? And did you predict the firefighters would jump out of bed and run down the stairs? "Fire, fire, fire," they shouted. Quickly, they put on their uniforms and slid down the pole. They are ready for a fire. It was a false alarm. When the firemen got to the engine, all they saw was a little monkey. George, said the chief, fighting fires is serious business. Get off that engine right now. George felt terrible. At that moment, they heard a dog bark. Sally was looking up at the top of the fire pole. One of the puppies had gotten out of its basket and was looking over the edge of the hole. One more step and it would fall. What do you think is going to happen? George knew what to do. He climbed up the pole as fast as he could. Then he held out his hat to catch the puppy in case it should fall. Sure enough, the puppy slipped and plop, landed right into George's hat. He saved the day. That was using your head, George, said the chief. You saved the puppy. I'm making you an honorary fireman at our station. You can keep the hat, too. Come back to visit us any time, shouted the chief, as George and the man in the yellow hat got into their car to drive home. George got to pretend to be a firefighter for a day. Can you think of another community helper that you would enjoy pretending to be for a day? It would be fun to go work with one of the community helpers that does something that really helps our community. Let's look at this paper that we've looked at during school before. Remember this paper? We have a fisherman. They just go fishing so that we can have fish to eat. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we have the trash collectors. Everybody likes the trash collectors because they pick up our trash. The chef, we can go eat because the chefs cook good food for us. They're one of my favorite community helpers. The crossing guard, yeah, they help people get across the street so that they're safe. And last but not least that we're going to talk about is the teacher. What does the teacher do to help our community? That's right, we take care of the little kids and we teach them things, but so many people can be teachers, not just us from school. People outside can be teachers because you can learn so much in so many different places. I want you to see what you can learn today. And let me know by sending me a picture of the person you learned something from. Bye!